After an eternity of waiting, head coach Neal Brown finally named somebody to the vacant offensive coordinator spot. Who is it? Where are they from? And what do they bring to the table? We're going to talk about that on the other side of the intro on this episode of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football.
This is for Cameron.
What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Mountaineer Paul, and you have landed yourself here again at Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. Subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate that, guys. We're heading towards 1,000 subscribers. Would really appreciate any and all support that you can give. I usually typically have inside information on this show. I've talked to several recruits. As you can look back through my videos, I've had players on this channel. I've had coaches on this channel. And I will continue to do that for you guys because that's what I like to do. Also do some investigative stuff. If we don't know how good a player is, a lot of times I can find that out. That was what my last video was about. Transfer from Penn State to defensive lineman. I went and talked to some of his teammates and got some things back from them about what they thought about him. Things like that, guys. So if that's for you, subscribe to this channel. And also, let's have a dialogue, guys. Let's talk about the offensive coordinator position today. And I want to hear some opinions. See if you guys are mad, happy, glad. It'd be really interesting to hear what you guys have to say about this. Without further ado, Neal Brown has chosen to hire from within. I don't think it's a shock to anybody in the program. I think we all expected something like this to happen. But I'll be honest, I wonder if this is by default. But before we get into that, let's get into some of what they said. And this is WestVirginiaSportsNow.com. And this is kind of some of the statement I was able to pick up. This is from Neal Brown. Chad knows what our strengths are, and he has earned this opportunity. I've coached with him for 13 years, and I trust him and the positive energy he brings to our team. Coach Scott has been a part of elite offenses in the past at Troy, Texas Tech, and North Carolina, and that experience has prepared him for this leadership role. The fact that he has built strong relationships with our players and is a tremendous teacher of the game will have a positive impact on the entire offensive unit. I have to say, on one hand, I do think Coach Scott has earned this opportunity. The running backs room has been consistently, maybe overall over the 4 years that he's been here, the best unit on the squad. It's between them and defensive line. Those guys have consistently performed. He took Letty Brown and turned him into an all-conference player. He was able to take C.J. Donaldson and take him from being a tight end, and in just a couple weeks, he takes his first carry and rips off a 50-plus yard run against Pitt. This guy has a track record of being able to get running backs ready. It is a large leap to get an entire offense ready. But if you think that Chad Scott's going to be doing this alone, you'll be sorely mistaken. And if you think Chad Scott's going to be calling the plays on Saturdays, I would hesitate before we go that far too. Speaking of Coach Scott, here's what he had to say. And there are some numbers here. It says under Scott, West Virginia's running game has averaged 171 yards per game and a half yards per game in 2022, and he built a unit strong on depth and consistency. Running backs Tony Mathen, Justin Johnson, C.J. Donaldson, and Jalen Anderson combined for over 1,700 yards and 18 touchdowns. The Mountaineers have had 1,000-yard rushers twice in Scott's 4 years as a position coach. That's pretty good. And here's what he had to say. I appreciate Coach Brown's confidence in me to take this next step in my coaching career and become the offensive coordinator of the Mountaineers. We have a strong nucleus returning, and we know what we need to do to be successful on offense. It's time to get to work. And then the article goes on to give a history of Coach Scott and his coaching background, where that stops at Texas Tech, Troy, where have you. This is really interesting, guys. Comments, guys. What do you think about this hire? Are you guys happy with Coach Scott being promoted from within? He's done a really good job with the running backs up until now, or did you hoping to see a young offensive coordinator, something like Clemson? They hired Garrett Riley, right? There's been several young offensive coordinators flying around this year. Here's what I think happened, and this is probably going to be backed up by fact in the future, but I was hearing rumors that nobody wanted this job. Neal Brown is looked at in some circles as a lame duck coach, and lame duck coaches get lame duck hires. Now, I will say West Virginia is very lucky to have Chad Scott on the staff, because if he wasn't on this staff, I don't know where they would turn. Matt Moore, I don't know. So we're very lucky to have Chad Scott on this staff, but it's worrisome that we weren't able to get a good young coach in to replace Graham Harrell. Part of this could be that the offense is going to move towards a more running style this year, and maybe this is even further proof of that. It's going to remain to be seen. Really, really interesting stuff, guys. So like I said, guys, let me know down below, and what did you think? Do you think Coach Stott is just getting this job by default because nobody else could be hired? Do you think he's getting it because he earned it? A little bit of both? We'd like to hear what you guys have to say on that. And don't forget to subscribe, guys. That's all we're going to cover on the offensive coordinator spot until we get a few more bits of information about what's going on here in this situation. Maybe we'll hear about coordinators hired or were trying to be hired. We heard rumors others were trying to be hired that didn't come on board. Maybe we'll hear some more of that coming in the future, and we'll do some more videos, guys. Really appreciate you guys for tuning in again. This has been another episode of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. This episode is over, and I am out.
This is for Cameron. Kim.